Immigration reform is a big issue of today's elections. At a book launch, UC Davis law professor Kevin Johnson offered us a platform in his new book, Opening of the Floodgates: Why America Needs to Rethink Its Borders and Immigration Laws. What is the central message that you want to get out about immigration to the society?
Well, I think that immigration is a very complicated issue that requires very thoughtful consideration and attention, and is not easily synthesized into sound bites. My hope in the book is to get people to think more carefully about more liberal admissions policies that really make it easier for workers to get to the United States, employers to get workers, and for our economy to work well.
I know you discussed a lot about border reform and changing the ways that we patrol our borders, but you also stated that there was somewhere around 40% of undocumented immigrants already in the United States. What do you suppose that we do about them?
Well, I think at the outset we have to come up with some kind of system that we allow people who have been here for a certain period of time to regularize their immigration status. There has to be some kind of path to legalization for long-term residents, because I don't think the public really is willing to try to deport millions of people who are parts of our community, who are parts of our workplace, and are valuable members of our community. So I think we have to come up with some kind of path to legalization, and then I think we have to come up with a system that allows people who are here for lawful purposes to work to get here, so that we don't have an undocumented population that has to be monitored. One of the things that I have worries about, and most Americans have worries about, is some kind of national identification card. I mean, we haven't had a computer system that is able to track all people, and absent some kind of national identification card with very high technology, we're not going to have one. I think we have to come up with a system that makes it easier for the employers, lawful employers, to get workers, and workers to get lawful jobs, and to try to get rid of the undocumented immigrant population that way.
And what will immigration reform do for our economy?
It'll make it stronger, better, and more productive.
Thank you very much. Johnson spoke about reconfiguring borders, liberalizing immigration with a semi-open border policy, and all of which, he suggests, is consistent with efforts to prevent terrorism in the United States. On top of speaking about border regulation, Professor Johnson also addressed the already existing immigrants in the United States.
Now, there are two economic issues when it comes to immigration that are actually worth talking about, because I think they're serious issues. And then the question is, well, if they're serious issues, how do you deal with them? One of the issues is, well, I have suppose I'm worried about lower skilled workers, or workers on a lower end of the wage scale. There's often a concern that low-wage immigrant labor is going to adversely affect those low-wage workers in our economy, because there'll be more competition for jobs. And a couple of people who often make this argument are people who ordinarily don't make arguments for workers. One of them is Lou Dobbs, and the other is Pat Buchanan.
Johnson has been published extensively on civil rights, immigration law and policy, and racial identity. As a professor of public interest law and Chicano studies, Johnson was just named to U.S. presidential candidate and U.S. Senator Barack Obama's immigration policy group. Johnson's book is available at the UC Davis bookstore. I'm Alexa Steinberg for AGTV.